In this video, I'm sharing my experience at the Fort Worth Stockyards and how it helped me connect personally with Texas history. The stockyards are one of the few places where you can still see the traditions of cattle drives, cowboys, and ranching culture come alive. Today, I'll show you how my visit reflects the historical roots that shaped Texas. When I arrived at the stockyards, the atmosphere immediately felt different. The brick streets, the wooden corrals, the smell of leather from the shops, and the sound of boots on the boardwalk. Being there helped me understand how deeply Texas identity is connected to ranching, cattle, and cowboy culture. The Fort Worth stockyards became important in the late 1800s during the era of the Great Cattle Drives. After the Civil War, Texas had millions of longhorn cattle but very few markets. Cowboys drove herds north along trails like the Chisholm Trail, and Fort Worth was one of the last major stops before entering Indian Territory. Watching the Longhorn cattle drive was the highlight of the visit. Seeing the cowhands guide the herd down Exchange Avenue made me feel like I was watching history in motion. When the railroad reached Fort Worth in 1876, everything changed. The stockyards grew into one of the largest livestock markets in the world. Cattle were bought, sold, and shipped nationwide from this exact location. The arrival of the railroad in 1876 changed everything. Before trains had cattle, cattle had to be walked hundreds of miles to reach buyers. Once the railroad reached Fort Worth, the city exploded with growth. The stockyards became one of the largest livestock markets in the world because cattle could now be shipped quickly and safely across the country. Railroads didn't just move cattle. They brought workers, businesses, hotels, saloons, and new opportunities. The stockyards became a crossroads of culture, trade, and travel. The historic livestock exchange building and the old train platforms still show how important railroads were to Texas' economy. The cowboy culture we celebrate today was shaped by diverse groups: Mexican vaqueros, African American cowboys, Native American riders, and Anglo settlers. Their skills and traditions blended into what we now recognize as the Texas cowboy. Rodeos grew out of everyday skills cowboys needed on the trail: roping, riding, wrestling, steers, and managing herds. What started as friendly competitions between ranch hands eventually became organized rodeo events. The Cowtown Coliseum in the Stockyards is one of the oldest indoor arenas in the country, and it still holds events today. Watching a rodeo connects modern audiences to the athleticism and bravery of the cowboys who helped build Texas. The traditions of bronc riding, barrel racing, and bull riding are reminders of the challenges cowboys face while working cattle across rough terrain. One of the most memorable parts, I think, for children at this while visiting the Fort Worth Stockyards is the cowboy show. The performers reenact an Old West style gunfight, complete with dramatic standoffs, cowboy humor, and historical storytelling. Even though it's entertainment, it reminded me of how lawmen, ranchers, and settlers shaped frontier life in Texas. The show brought the past to life in a way that made me imagine what Fort Worth might have felt like in the late 1800s. Even the buildings in the stockyards, the livestock exchange building, the pens, and the old hotels show how important cattle were to Texas' economy and identity. The Fort Worth stockyards are more than a tourist attraction. They're a living reminder of the cattle drives, cowboys, railroads, and rodeo traditions that shaped Texas. The Longhorn Cattle Drive is a reenactment of real work cowboys did every day. The rodeo events highlight skills that were once essential for survival on the trail. The historic buildings remind us that Fort Worth was built on cattle money and railroad expansion. Seeing all of this in person helped me connect the past to the present and understand how Texas continued to honor its roots. My visits have showed me how the stockyards preserve Texas history while still making it a part of modern life.